to welcome you to our brand new, all new format of Xposure magazine, and we're actually expanding online and we're expanding our presence. So, to all our readers worldwide, hello in English because I can't speak your language, but welcome and thank you so much for supporting us over the last 7 years. We really appreciate it, and from me to you, I extend my heart and my thanks. So today I'm sitting with Sal. May I call you Sal? Is
Yes.
that okay? Okay. I am sitting with.
I let all my close friends call me Sal.
So. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I just
We're close friends now.
Okay. That's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I'm sitting with Sal Iovino. Is that the
Yep.
Okay. I'm sitting with Sal Iovino, who is a NASCAR driver and a speed racer, and probably part superhero too. I'm kind of convinced he is.
I don't think I'm superhero at all, but.
So, can you please introduce yourself to everyone watching and reading?
Hey everyone, like she said, I'm Salvatore Iovino. I race in the NASCAR Canyon Pro Series. We are a stepping stone to the Cup Series, and we are a nationally televised event, and it's an awesome series to race in. And I live here in Atlanta with my family. I have three kids and a wife, and we've been here since 2012, okay. So 2011, so about 5 years. Okay. And we love Atlanta.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a native, so people look at me like I'm a unicorn, but welcome. Mm-hmm. So what do you love about being here in Atlanta?
I love the people, for one. I grew up on the West Coast in Los Angeles, and the mentality of people are more aggressive. Mm-hmm. And when I came out here in 2011, I had a lot of hospitality with people, and that took it home for me. Okay. You know, when I can drive down the street and people wave to you that don't even know you, that's what I like. When LA, it would be completely reversed on what kind of waving you're getting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And so you came here in 2012. When did you begin your career path in racing?
I started racing in 2012. Mm-hmm. I raced drag racing. So I bought a 2010 Dodge Charger, and it was 425 horsepower.
Wow.
And within a year and a half, I did a bunch of while I was racing, I was doing a bunch of modifications to the car, and now it's at 1,500 horsepower. So with that,
wow.
Yeah, that car kind of enabled me to meet new connections in the racing world. Mm-hmm. Because it did set a couple records, and with that, you know, I'm very lucky to meet some of the people that I know now, and I had the opportunity to race NASCAR. And the first time I got into a stock car, I was hooked on it. It was my new passion.
Wow. Okay, so did you always have like a passion? Did you always know this would be the path that you wanted to take, or were you interested in something totally different outside of racing?
I've always had a passion in motorsports. Mm-hmm. I grew up being a big Dodge Viper fan. Okay. When I was a kid, I wouldn't say that, I'm going to be a race car driver, because I never thought about it. And actually, I wasn't even a fan of NASCAR until, I started racing NASCAR. Okay. But I always had a interest in motorsports. Mm-hmm. Prior to racing becoming full-time, I also own a business too. Mm-hmm. So, which is here locally in Woodstock, about 30 minutes north of Atlanta. Mm-hmm. So that took up, that still takes up a lot of time too, as a business owner. Mm-hmm. Now I just kind of filtered in a full-time race schedule while running a business at the same time. So wow. It's tough juggling things, but I make it work.
Well, let's talk about your drag racing career. So how long were you drag racing before you made it to NASCAR, and what was that process like for you?
I was drag racing. I started in 2012, and I still drag race now. Okay. So it's not something I just gave up. Okay. But I've been drag racing since 2012, and it's been continuous ever since. Mm-hmm. Now that NASCAR's kind of filtered into it, I do a little bit less drag racing because NASCAR is time consuming. Mm-hmm. But drag racing was always rewarding. So especially with the car that I have drag race, it's not your typical race car.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of brings in a lot of attention. You know, you're not going to see 1,500 horsepower Dodge Chargers.
No,
Yeah.
not a lot. Now, maybe Jay Leno, but that's probably the only other person I can think of that's not a race car person, enthusiast that may have something similar
Yeah.
or comparable to that.
So the drag racing, the drag racing was very rewarding because over the years I've won a few championships in the drag racing community. I think like 8 championships. So
wow.
yeah,
Awesome.
so it's good. So and you know you win a little bit of money here and there. So you'll never get the money that you put into the car, but getting a little back is good too.
Okay. So let's talk about that. So what are some of the major misconceptions you think we have about what you do as being a professional race car driver?
So financially, it can get binding financially. Just for our races, it's for NASCAR, we're at a minimum of like $20,000 per race.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's not including any damages. And you're going to get damages in NASCAR because NASCAR is more about just staying alive through the race and trying not to get banged up or get in a wreck. So there's a lot of money that goes into damages as well, which is where sponsors come in. They really kind of help offload that, and you know, it doesn't come out of the driver's pocket so much. So I think the biggest misconception is that when you see NASCAR drivers, you automatically think, oh, they got this sponsor, so they're making all this money.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. It's true to an extent, but it depends on the sponsor commitment.
Mm-hmm.
So last season, my company sponsored me partial through the season.
Mm-hmm.
So that was money that my company was paying, and like any damages I was paying out of my own pocket. And then I actually ended up getting a big sponsor, Infinite Wireless, and they came on board and they paid for the rest of the season. So any other sponsors I got on top of that would help with the damages and whatnot, travel and hotels and you know every expense that's related with racing. If we get like a big sponsor, then that's a huge money financial thing to not have to focus on so much, because I have to spend a lot of time marketing myself to get sponsors. I mean, like, I've gone door to door.
Wow.
Like old school.
Tell me what it's like to be you during a season, like when you're traveling all around, take us through like a typical day or a typical week for you when you're racing.
So a typical week is Thursday's travel day, and it's usually all day affair because it's on to the West Coast, so it's just flight and travel and jet lag. And then the next day, Friday, is practice all day. So we got practice. And then Saturday, like, we're at the racetrack from 7 a.m. to a lot of times until midnight. And we got practice, we got qualifying, we have interviews, autograph sessions that are mandatory. And then of course the race.
Okay.
And then after the race, you got everything all over again. And then Sundays are travel days back home. And then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm working or doing some other kind of commitments. And then Thursday, right back on it again.
Okay. Wow. That's pretty hectic.
Yeah, so it takes its toll.
Wow.
I think internally my sleeping has declined this year, especially. I think I get about 4.5 hours sleep. I think it's just a lot of the time change back and forth. But I get little power naps. To be honest with you, I took a little power nap on the way here. I pulled over on the side for 20 minutes.
Well, you know what? I understand because you're constantly on the go because you are still a full-time business owner as well. So,
right.
And you have a family and children and just a really, really full life, right?
It's a busy life. There's a lot of things I got my hands into that I'm involved in. So I stay busy for sure. And you know, when I do have the slow time and I'm not doing anything, then I'm like, what am I doing? I got to do something. You know. Matter of fact, I think it was yesterday that was kind of like that. I didn't have a whole lot going on. I worked on some media stuff at home, and then after that, I was just kind of like sitting on the couch. And I'm really bored right now. I need to be doing something. So.
Right, I understand.